Today's training will go for a duration of 1 hour. And the key topics that we'll be speaking of is the Australian consumer landscape for wireless audio. We'll go into a bit of what's the story behind Bluesound and the backend technology for Bluesound. We'll speak a bit of the current product line for Bluesound, and Blue OS 4.0 was launched last night. And Paul from our TSS team will give us a sneak peek of what the new Blue OS 4.0 is about, along with a live demonstration. And we'll have a Q&A session towards the end. So if any of you have got any questions to ask, please feel free to put it in the chat box. If not, we'll have a Q&A session towards the end of this training program. So yeah, let's get going then. So the Australian consumer landscape, when it comes to wireless audio or multi-room audio, for example, it's always good to have an understanding of the consumer behavior when it comes to multi-room audio, for example. So there are a couple of research that's happened here in Australia, which mainly gets an idea of what are the type of content that people listen to these days. So for those of you who didn't know, Australians are the global leaders when it comes to digital audio listening. So globally, if you see the number of podcast listeners, for example, in on a global scale, Australia leads that number there. So Australia is taken over US, it's taken over India, like all the major countries in the globe. Australia has just taken over all these people. So according to Edison Research, Australians are the global leader when it comes to digital audio listening. And in fact, Australians are the world's biggest podcast listeners. And DAB Plus has tripled its audience since 2020, reaching around 7 million people a week just in Australia. So if you look at these stats, you get to have an understanding of what are the consumer behaviors and what are the consumer trends when it comes to using multi-room audio or even just using a normal streaming app. So we have more of people using podcast stations these days than what it was before. There was once, so if you look at back in June 2023, there was a study that was done by DTS and Opnium. So Opnium is a research company that's based here in Australia. So they did a consumer study, and what they understood is normally these days consumers seek products that are wire-free or basically wireless products, and they are more, or consumers have demanded for products that are capable of connecting throughout the entire house, which basically is a multi-room audio scenario. So whatever demand that you see for multi-room audio systems from your consumers is predominantly, has something to do with these stats that you see on my screen right now. And hence you have products like Bluesound to answer these demands from the consumer. So Bluesound, in a nutshell, or as you see, the hashtag for Bluesound is living hi-fi. The biggest difference of Bluesound compared to the other competitors in the market is its capability to marry brands like NED and PSB that comes from the same product umbrella called Lindbrook. So Bluesound uses NED amplification, uses acoustic designs from PSB speakers, and they try to bring all of these into the products that they make. Uh, so for those of you who didn't know, Bluesound comes from Lindbrook, and Lindbrook has three major brands that they sell globally: Bluesound, NED, and PSB. And the amplification and the electronics team that work at Bluesound are the same people that work at NED. Similarly, the people that work behind the Bluesound speakers or the acoustic designs of the Bluesound standalone speakers come from PSB speakers. So there is resources that are that are being used from NAD and PSB in terms of designing Bluesound products. Apart from that, Bluesound does have certain products that gets designed by DFID in New York. So you'll get to see a few of Bluesound's standalone speakers that were designed by the guys at DFID in New York. So speaking of the Bluesound technology, or what goes behind the Bluesound platform. So Bluesound, like most of you know, is a multi-room audio solution. And when I say multi-room audio solution, it works on an app called Blue OS. So, but what sets Bluesound apart from the others is that it's got this heritage amplification technology from NAD, along with the acoustic designs from PSB in each of the products that they make. The Blue OS app is capable of having 64 different zones on the same platform, and it also allows streaming of 24-bit 192 kilohertz data through the app. Uh, the third point, which speaks about MQA. So Lenbrook, I think it was like 2 weeks back, Lenbrook acquired MQA. So MQA now falls under Lenbrook. So all the MQA streaming content that you have right there will be owned in one way or the other by Lenbrook. So which makes the concept of having high res audio or high fidelity audio to be, which makes it more sense because now we have MQA, we have Bluesound all under one umbrella, which makes things even more easier for consumers and resellers to pitch these products to consumers who actually need high res audio. Blue OS or Bluesound mainly has, there are certain highlight features that come on Bluesound. So things like AirPlay or Roon Ready, Bluetooth offering different possibilities of connecting different products to each of these players, transmitting of MQA, having voice control. So Bluesound also integrates with things like Alexa control, and it's very much installer friendly. So the installer friendly part is what Paul will take you through as we go to the end of this presentation. So that's pretty much in a nutshell of what is the backend story of Bluesound and the brands that Bluesound is a part of, along with the backend technology that goes into Bluesound. So let's go into a bit of what are the different products that comes in the Bluesound family. So Bluesound family mainly comprises of three categories of product. We have a wireless stereo component, or basically wireless stereo component are the ones that you normally get to see as your streamers and all that sort of stuff. Your wireless amplifiers and things like that is what is being categorized as your wireless stereo component. Then you have your wireless speakers or your standalone Bluetooth speakers, along with wireless home theater components, which is comprised of soundbars and subwoofers. All of these products get connected by the app or by the platform called BlueOS. So BlueOS helps you to integrate all these different components under the Bluesound brand. So moving to the wireless stereo components. So wireless stereo components, mainly there are 5 different types of wireless stereo components. So you have a node. So node, power node, Vault, 2i, the power node, Edge, and the hub. Each of these products are, let's say, individual players for each of your zones or for each of your rooms. Now, what differs between these players is its capability of amplification, is its capability to give a pre-out to an amplifier and things like that. So the wireless stereo component mainly just has 5 main products, and each of these products you get to buy them in black or white, with exception to the hub. So the hub only comes in black, whereas the node, the power node, the Vault 2i, and the power node Edge all comes in black and white. I'll just go into a bit of a detail of into each of these products to give you an idea of what these products are actually, so that you get a better understanding. So Node, our fastest moving product, is our fastest moving product from Bluesound is what we call as a wireless music streamer. So Node is simply a music streamer to which you use the Bluehost app to play songs through an amplifier in a particular zone. So you connect your node to an integrated amp or to an AV receiver, preamplifier, or a power amplifier, or to a pair of active loudspeakers. So node comes also in black and white, and you get to have, like I said, different versions of Node. So we had a product called the Node X, which was launched as a 10th anniversary model by Bluesound, which was, let's say, a very limited release of a product. So we do have here and there, Bluesound launches certain products get that gets to be a part of these milestones that they achieve. Power node is basically an amplifier out of the box. So power node or the power node edge, all you need to do is to connect a pair of speakers to the amplifier, and you get to use it out of the box. Uh, Power nodes does not, as the name suggests, it's got a built-in amplifier. So the power node has 80 watts per channel through 8 ohms. And you have a different model called a Power Node Edge, which is a much more compact design product, which offers 40 watts per channel into 8 ohms. So you have these two products, which can be used straight out of the box, just connect to a pair of passive speakers, and it's up and running. One interesting fact on the Power Node Edge is its design. So, like I said, it's pretty much compact, which means for custom installers or for people who want to have amplifier right behind the television. This is one such product which can go behind your television, which allows you to take a HDMI eARC along with having the facility to connect a pair of speakers and use it as a multi-room audio solution too. The Vault 2i is a music streamer, ripper, and storage. So you get to store your audio discs in this, like rip your audio discs and store your content into this and use it. So this has a pre-out. You can use it to be connected to an amplifier and fire off your speakers, or you can also use it as a standalone NAS for your local music. So the power node edge, and the vault is something that goes to a speaker, or basically it sends out music signals. Now, this particular device is something that takes in music signals. So the power node edge, and the vault sends out audio, whereas the hub takes in audio. So this is what they call as a wireless audio source adapter. So you can connect any audio source to the hub. So what the hub does is, let's say you have a vinyl disc player which does not have a capability to go on the cloud. So you connect the vinyl disc players out to the hub, and then the hub puts that particular source onto the Blue OS platform. So either you connect any audio source. So it can be a vinyl disc player, or it can also be your television, for example. So imagine that you're doing uh, a small restaurant project wherein they want to have, a large area of a large area that needs to be covered with speakers. So you can have a hub and have like Bluesound speakers running across the place, and have the hub transmit the audio from the television to all these speakers. So scenarios like that is definitely possible using this particular product. Similarly, if someone wants to use your old audio cassettes, that's also possible through the hub. I've made a very small, let's say, easy connection diagram of what the hub is about. So hub basically has any audio device that goes into the hub through your RCA audio input, and it needs an internet connection. And then you have that particular source right on the BlueOS platform. You get to use that source on, let's say, either in one particular zone or across multiple zones at the same time. So these these five products are the main products that fall under the wireless music streamer product category for Bluesound. Now, moving on to wireless speakers, as the name suggests, these are all individual standalone speakers. Let's say each of these speakers can be used as a normal speaker by itself, wherein you connect, it's a use multiple mediums to connect to it, or you can use these speakers as a part of a large BlueOS network. So uh, they just have currently four main speakers by the name Pulse Flex 2i, Pulse M, Pulse Mini, and Pulse 2i. So Pulse Flex 2i is the smallest speaker or the most portable one in the Bluesound range. Uh, this normally gets placed in kitchens, bedrooms, and places like that. And you can use Pulse 2i as a stereo pair if you want to. You also have the option to buy an additional battery pack for the speaker and use it as you go on the move. Pulse Flex also has an optional stand that you get to buy and use it as your surround speaker if you want. Uh, the Pulse M is a omnidirectional speaker, as you get to see here. Similar to the Pulse Flex 2i, you have the option to either mount it on the wall or even place it on a stand, and can be used as a stereo pair or can be used as an extension to, let's say, a Bluesound soundbar if you want to. So you have a Bluesound soundbar along with a pair of these speakers in your surrounds. So all that sort of combinations is possible in this particular brand. Similarly, the Pulse Mini and the Pulse 2i. So both these speakers look very similar. All that differs between the two speakers is basically the size of the woofer. So the Pulse Mini comes with a 4-inch woofer, whereas the Pulse 2i comes with a 5.25-inch woofer. So the speaker, in terms of the design aspect of things, both the speakers look very much similar. It's just that the Pulse 2i is bigger than the Pulse Mini because it's got a bigger driver. Moving to the third product category in Bluesound, we have the wireless home theater category, which comprises of just two products, the soundbars and your subwoofers. So the soundbars is, as you know, it's a soundbar that gets used by mostly television customers. So typical placements is between the soundbar can be used for any television that's in the size of 55 to 65 inch. And you also have an option to mount mount the soundbar on an optional mount that you get from Bluesound called the TS100 TV stand. So you can mount the soundbar along with a 55 or a 65-inch television on this stand. The soundbar also offers things like Dolby Atmos 3D audio support is all being offered by the soundbar too. So the soundbar not only just does the functions of a normal soundbar, but it also allows you to use a soundbar as an extended multi-room audio zone when you connect it to the BlueOS software. Moving to uh, the subwoofer is very sleek, and you have the flexibility to either place the subwoofer under or behind a furniture. And the power rating on the subwoofer is around 150 watts, and it has a 8-inch woofer to it. So the subwoofer normally goes as a part of the soundbar, but like I said, people get to mismatch products here and there in terms of how they want to fit their existing designs. So what unites all these products that I've showed you? So currently we went through the wireless music streamers, we went through the wireless speakers and the wireless home theater products. And what unites all of these products is what we call as a BlueOS, which is the Bluesounds operating system. And as I initially said, NAD falls under the same brand of products as uh, from where Bluesound comes, and that's what is the unique offering from Bluesound. So uh, having brands like NED that has custom installed products or rack mounted products along with Bluesound and PSB speakers from the same brand is what unifies all these brands together. So in terms of where Bluesound stands apart from your competition is this second point, which basically helps you to have, let's say, a home theater that runs on an NED AVR or a, let's say you have a multi-room audio zone that runs from a rack-mounted product from NAD, you get to add those products onto the BlueOS platform along with your individual Bluesound nodes or power nodes or even your Bluesound Bluetooth speakers. I have a very short video of the BlueOS platform. So this particular video will give you an idea of the journey that's happened through which BlueOS went. So BlueOS started with 1.0 and BlueOS 4.0 was launched last night. So it'll just give you a very brief overview of the journey of BlueOS. So BlueOS 4.0 is a new version of BlueOS. And like you said, like you've seen in the video, there's quite a bit of improvements that's happened on the BlueOS 4.0. Uh, the We were all a part of the beta testing that went in getting the new version of BlueOS out. And there's a bit of inputs that we sent from the Australian continent to Lenbrook. They have incorporated most of the improvements that we have given from here. So as Paul goes through the BlueOS app, you'll get to see an idea of the differences that's occurred from the previous versions to the newest version. So BlueOS app, like any other music app, is a streaming platform which helps you to unite all these Bluesound components along with components from NAD. And the biggest selling point for BlueOS is its capability to stream high-res audio. So MQAs or even title music is one service provider that works very closely with BlueOS. BlueOS also allows seamless integration with most control systems that's currently in the market. So Control 4, Crestron, Lutron, KNX, RTI, all these control systems get seamlessly integrated using the BlueOS platform. And there are drivers for each of these control systems that's there on the BlueOS website. I'll just show you a couple of snapshots of how the BlueOS integrates with Crestron or URC and RTA, as you see here. So this is the user interface that a customer gets to see once the integration happens in the backend. When you integrate your Crestron control system with the BlueOS app, a customer gets to see the metadata of each of the tracks that's being played. So there's quite a bit of seamless integration, especially when it comes to Bluesound and BlueOS with these major players. Apart from that, in terms of the music streaming integrations that's currently there on the BlueOS platform, you have all major players that you can think of. And the other important aspect of BlueOS is that, so despite BlueOS being a product from Bluesound or from Lenbrook, they have teamed up with brands like Roxen or Dali or Cyrus, Monitor Audio, and there are quite a few brands that's currently in progress of getting collaborations with BlueOS. So BlueOS is being demanded as a sought after music streaming service by most of the audio brands, and you'll get to see BlueOS coming in many other third-party brands that's currently in the market. So there's a lot of work that's currently in progress, and you'll have to just wait and watch the space to see what's going to happen. So with that, that's pretty much a nutshell of, or let's say an overview of what's happening in the world of Bluesound. And now we have a sneak peek, or we'll have a sneak peek into the Blue OS 4.0, the new version of the Blue OS app, along with a live demonstration by Paul from TSS team. And after that, we'll have the Q&A session wherein you can clear all your doubts or any questions that you guys have so far. I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll give Paul the access. Paul, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I forgot that you muted me earlier.
Okay. Yeah. So over to you.
Okay, so morning, everyone. Thank you for jumping on board first thing. I did get lucky with them releasing the full app this morning for iOS devices. So I can, instead of showing you the beta version, I can show you the full version of the app now. All right, let's have a look here. Hopefully this comes through okay. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so I will move Bejoy out of the way. There we go. So, okay, so this is the latest BlueOS 4.0 application, as you can see here, direct from my iPad mini. I do have a comfortable combination of NAD and Bluesound in my home, both sporting BlueOS as the operating system. So I'll be able to show you how seamlessly an NAD AVR receiver and an NAD 2-channel amp integrate with the rest of the BlueOS ecosystem as well. So you've got the home screen here. Unfortunately, mine does look a little bit boring because it is just a fresh download of the app. I don't have any presets. I don't have any liked streaming services as yet. Down the bottom of the app, you have your easy access tabs. So you have the home screen, you have favorites that you could set any radio station, any playlist as a favorite. You have your music, which you can manage to remove or add any music service. So you actually have your long list of music services here available to you, as Bejoy pointed out in the previous slides. And over here, you've got the player menu. So within the player menu itself, I've got an M10 running the PSB speakers in the backyard. I have a home theater surround sound amplifier and the T778, and all these players can be selected and grouped together as you see fit. Over on the right hand side, I can't really point with a mouse because it's a touch screen, but you're gonna have to bear with me with the explanation. So to the right of the actual speaker name itself, you'll see a little symbol that looks like two squares connecting together. So with that, you can actually, second. So you can pair and unpair certain players together, or you do have the option down the bottom here to group all. So you can group the whole entire home into the players themselves into a larger group, so all of them will be playing the same content. Another helpful feature with the player menu is you could set up what's called fixed groups. So within the fixed groups, you can set up a stereo pair. So you can have a pair of pulse flex speakers that will give you true left and right stereo separation. So you can have a stereo pair, you can have a multiplayer group. So if you've got multiple players in a lounge room, as an example, but you only wanted to show up as one player for the customer to select, you can activate a multiplayer group. And you've also got the option for a home theater group, which I will go into a little bit more detail. So the home theater grouping can consist of a soundbar and 2 pulse flexes as the rear speakers. You can also have a Bluesound power node running a pair of speakers at the front of the room and another power node running a pair of speakers at the back of the room. Most people use in-ceiling speakers as your rear surround speakers. And you can now, with the latest Bluesound Soundbar Plus and Sub Plus, you can have content up to Dolby Atmos with that 5.1 setup. And so I'm more than happy to go over questions at the end of the presentation as well and go into a bit more detail if anybody has specific questions, but I'll keep this short and simple. You do also have the option to do an overall search. So you can, in the search bar, you can select which streaming service you want to search through and just search for your favorite artist, favorite song, or even a particular genre of music that you want to listen to. Okay, so within the players themselves, just to show how easy it is to set them up, and they've actually simplified it even further for iOS users, because before you used to have to go out of the app and into the Apple AirPlay setup within the settings of the iPad or iPhone before, but now they've integrated it within the actual BlueOS app. So we can go here. I've got a Node 2i that I could set up. And all you need is power. You just need to know the Wi-Fi name and the password, or even in this sense for Apple AirPlay users, it will populate the password automatically through the AirPlay setup. Hit next. And of course, during the demonstration, I get a bit of lag. And just like that, that player is also added to the rest of the BlueOS ecosystem. So it's really not that hard for yourself or your customer to set up a player within the app. And for that particular player, really wish I wasn't getting so much lag trying to share this screen right now, but we will persist. So back on the home screen itself, in the settings menu, you do have a lot of customizable options. You can set sleep timers, you can set alarm clocks, you can adjust audio settings. You've got the player menu, which you can, with the correct player selected, you do have the ability to customize sources, adjust room names. So within the customized sources, this is a Bluesound soundbar. So you have your analog input, optical input, and HDMI ARC that you can also, just to make it a lot easier for yourself and the customer upon integration, you can turn on auto send. So when the TV turns on, the soundbar will automatically change over to that HDMI ARC source, and you don't have to have a customer calling you wondering why there's no sound coming out of my soundbar. I just turned on the TV and I can't hear anything. The BlueOS ecosystem will take care of all that for you. In terms of anything else to show within the app, it's all very self-explanatory. I can go into more detail about how to change player names and everything like that, but that's pretty minor at this point. But Joy, did you have anything else in mind?
Do you want to show them how you added the NAD T778 or how the T778 appears in the BlueOS app so that they get an idea of in a scenario wherein you have a home theater along with a few other Bluesound players, how do customers get to see it?
So as long as everybody can still see that on their screen, the T778 in the theater can be grouped and ungrouped to any of these other players seamlessly. So the theater can be playing the same content as the Bluesound Pulse Mini that's sitting on the bar in the dining area. So a fun example, whenever I have a gathering here at home, I just group the whole entire home together, and no matter what room anybody is walking into, the music is playing seamlessly at the same timestamp as all the other rooms in the home. So people can't walk into a dead zone without hearing some sort of music. So it's all very seamless, and no matter what speaker arrangement you have in the theater room, all those speakers will be able to pick up the music that you're playing either in Dolby Digital, enhanced stereo, or even if you just want to play 2-channel in the theater room as stereo, it'll all play anything you're giving it from the BlueOS app. And that also goes the same with the Master Series NAD M10 version 2 playing in the backyard. So I could have a small Bluesound Pulse Flex speaker playing in the kitchen and the 2-channel M10 Master Series playing a pair of PSB speakers, the exact same song in the backyard. And the BlueOS does not treat it any differently to any other BlueOS enabled device. Even if I had a pair of Dali speakers in my home, they would also show up in this BlueOS app to be able to be grouped and ungrouped with any other BlueOS enabled product.
Yeah. So thanks, Paul. So that's pretty much a nutshell of what the new BlueOS 4.0 looks, and in terms of the capabilities from from the BlueOS 4.0. And that's pretty much a very short and sharp presentation that we had for you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise it right now, and or we are always here at Amber. You can send us an email with your questions, and we're happy to answer them for you.
Let me just double check the chat to see.
Yeah.
Nobody had any questions? Nobody wanted to know a little bit more detail?
Sorry, but Joy, just one thing I wanted to add with the Pulse Plus sub.
Yeah.
That can be paired to anything working on Blue OS. For example, I've got a power node running some speakers in the backyard, and I've got a sub paired to that, which works fantastic together. So it's not just
Yeah.
with a soundbar; it's any
Sure.
Blue OS
Yeah.
product.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. Also, just want to point out, hang on a second. Can you dynamically search content within the Control4 driver? To my knowledge, yes, as long as the customer has their user details logged into the Control4 system as a whole, including the BlueOS driver, you will be able to dynamically search Tidal, Spotify. It really depends how the rest of the system is set up. Knowing exact details about each individual driver is unfortunately a little bit beyond me, because I would have had to install the driver on every single control system. But if there is any questions that I don't have an answer to, it's very easy for me to grab that information from the manufacturer directly and get back to you. But your particular question, Alan, thank you for that, is yes. In short, yes, you can.
Any
Anyone
other questions?
else? Yeah.
So just to let you all know, the Blue OS 4.0, when you open the app, the Bluesound app, the 4.0 update will probably pop up, and you get to update all your apps to the new Blue OS 4.0. There's one more.
Yeah, David. Unfortunately, yes, that is majorly controlled by Spotify's side. Spotify has barred access to use their app within other operating systems, but as an example, I can imagine a lot of you have used Bluesound before, and for those of you who have not, feel free to reach out to be able to ask any questions as they come up. I work for the TSS department within Amber Technology, providing active post-sales support for the brand. So I am easily contactable and can help you out even while you're on site installing in a customer's home, as an example.
There are two more questions that's just coming.
Yeah,
Can Blue?
okay.
Yeah.
So BlueOS does have a driver available for URC. I'm not sure if you were part of the conversation earlier, Michael, but Joy did actually have an example of what the URC platform looks like with BlueOS integrated into it. So I will stop sharing my screen now if you wanted to go back to that particular slide. But Joy. And yeah, the Bluesound professional keypad controller can also work with pretty much anything that has BlueOS enabled.
Yeah. So Michael, this is how the Blue OS app would look on the URC platform. So it's just an example of what you get to see through URC, and when someone uses Bluesound. Yeah. Is there a new GUI update for RTI ID? I'll have to check that, David. I'm not quite sure on that. I'll have to check that with Jared, who looks after the Bluesound professional side of things. So yeah, I'll just look and get back to you, David. If yes, sorry.
No, I was basically just going to ask if anybody else has questions or anything. We are completely contactable even after this presentation if something comes to mind.
Yeah, so if there's no more further questions, I think
There's one more there, guys. Bijoy. There's one there from Sean. Can you add a BSB keypad controller to this app and or the Bluesound node?
Yeah, so
Yes.
I shortly answered that while Bijoy was bringing up the URC controller. Yes, the Bluesound Professional keypad controller can work alongside any Bluesound Professional, I believe BlueOS in general. So yes, there has been plenty of Bluesound residential customers that have also purchased the Bluesound Professional keypad just to have on their wall there if they don't want to go into a full control system for their home, and it's worked out perfectly fine.
Sweet. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
No, that's okay. Sorry, Alex. Unfortunately, the local sources for the T758 and the T778 cannot be shared across the network in the app itself. The BlueOS app doesn't. The new BlueOS app is an update to the application itself at face value. It doesn't add any crazy extra features to the things that it is controlling. It's a facelift with a bit more of a faster backend to be able to group and ungroup and add players. One of the more significant things, like I demonstrated before, was when you were on an iOS device, you had to get out of the BlueOS app previously and go into the settings of the iOS device, go to Apple AirPlay and set up your BlueOS speaker that way. Whereas now, Apple AirPlay is inside the BlueOS app itself, so you can just add players seamlessly without having to leave the app and use multiple apps. All good.
Okay. Yeah, so if there are no more further questions, I think we'll call off this meeting, and I'm hoping you guys all have a great day ahead. Thank you so much once again for being a part of this training program.